Welcome to Maker Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from NIGHTCARVER Designs. And today on the show, I have Christy from Twine Woodworking. She is a CPA by day and a everything by night. She tends to dabble in just about, well, everything. And I really find it impressive. So I wanted to have Christy on the show so we can chat and learn a bit more about her. A huge thank you to the sponsor of the show, and it's actually how we met, Sabertooth Power Carving. They make the best carbide tip burrs out there, and the thing about them is they last forever. You'll never have to replace them, and you'll want to build yourself a collection. So check them out at sabertooth.com and use NIGHTCARVER10 to save 10%, and that's in all caps. All right, let's get on to the show. I live by timers right now, like in alarms. Like that's me. That's me now.
Crazy. Now, how old are your boys? Did you say?
They're 6.
Oh wow, yeah. I couldn't keep up with 6-year-olds to save my life anymore.
Can I ask you the question that you're not supposed to ask women?
I'm 48 years old.
48. Okay, I'm 40.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm super jealous that you're experiencing that at this age, because
yes,
in 8 years they will still be with me at my house.
Yeah, my oldest, she's 26, and my youngest is 21.
Oh.
So they've got their big girl jobs now too. I mean, they're done with college. They're like living their real life now. So it's a wonderful place to be.
Oh, I'm gonna be so old when that's time. Just think about it, 12 years until they're 18. Like, I'm gonna be, damn. That's what happens when you meet your husband and when you're 31. So
yeah, I started out early. I got married at 19 the first time, and had Anna when I was around 21. So I didn't have those, when I was going to college, I was working full time. I was married. I had Anna while I was in college.
Wow.
So I never had those young years of, free stepping and
I know it's opposite. Up. You're living it up now, where I lived it. I lived it up. Before I met my husband. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it just depends on when you're going to have your time.
Yeah. It's true. It's better for me to do this now, I guess, but it would just be so nice if they were already older.
Yeah. Well, and really, by the time they get 12-ish, they start becoming more independent, as you know, how
I'm already
seeing
go. It. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're already sick of me.
Well, and my advice to all parents is keep in mind you're raising future adults. You're not raising children, you're raising future adults, and look at it that way, that you want them to go off.
Oh, yes.
Some parents are
little
like,
birdies.
They're like, oh, I don't ever want Junior to leave. I'm like, yes, you do. In my opinion, anyway.
Well, yeah, no, you've had the experience of once they have left, and you know how life is. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. It is a whole new world. It's wonderful to have them home. I mean, they were home over the Thanksgiving, which was super fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I'm very close with my girls, and Marvin, my husband's very close with his boys, and we all get along really, really well. And I just absolutely love that about our family.
How old are his boys?
His boys are range in the same age of my girls.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So we're almost the Brady Bunch. He's got 3 sons, but I've only got 2 daughters. So, but they're all in that same age. And actually, this past March, we all went on vacation together for the first time.
Oh, nice.
And we went out to Vegas and had a wonderful time, and the kids get along great. And that's just, I couldn't ask for it any better in that.
I'm seeing Brady Bunch now. I'm thinking Vegas Vacation, like National Lampoons.
Thankfully, we all survived and made it home safely.
No sketchy buffets.
No, we did have one fender bender with a rental car, but and a sandstorm, and we didn't get to see the Grand Canyon. So there was, a few disappointments, but we all came home with more gambling money than we went with.
See, that's nice. That's good.
Not a ton. I mean, we're not retiring anytime soon, but we did learn how to play blackjack, and we made a little bit of money before we came home.
Look
So
at you.
it
Well,
was
that
a
sounds like a
win-win.
great trip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you can make money.
Yeah. It is, I've heard all, and I'm sure next time we go,
You're going to
it
lose.
will
Yeah.
be the
Yep.
total opposite. But that's okay. It was a great experience. I would definitely go back. I really want to see the Grand Canyon at some point in time. That was probably the only real disappointment of the trip,
Yeah.
is that we didn't get to see it because of the sandstorm. That was just god awful, like a mummy movie or whatever. It was just terrible. I don't know how people live through that, but
I'll never go to Vegas, I don't think.
oh,
I just don't like being hot.
oh yeah.
Don't want to be hot.
Yeah, when we went in March, that really was it was the perfect weather.
Yeah.
We were able to walk around outside and go from
Well,
one
that's
place
cool.
to the other without it being too uncomfortable. So I definitely would recommend winter months or early spring. Definitely not the summer.
I'm a little baby. I'm tender, delicate even. But you're not. I was scrolling your page, and I love like your Made for Makers thing was
Oh yeah.
perfect because it kind of gave a little like who you are, like you were raised on a farm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in central Missouri. I live in southwest Missouri. I'm almost Oklahoma, almost Arkansas, barely
Okay.
Missouri. But my family is all in central Missouri, and like my dad, he was literally born in the house that they still live in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so he was third generation. So the farm's been in the family for 120 plus years now. And so it's just it's a great place for us all to
What kind of
meet
farm is it?
back on a regular basis. I'm sorry, what?
What kind of farm is it?
It's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Some cattle, some crops. My dad's kind of retiring from it, and my brother, I only have one brother. There's 6 of us kids, and I have one brother. And so
Okay.
he's in the process of buying it from them to kind of continue on. And so he's in the agricultural world too. And so yeah, it's about 500 and some odd 560 acres or something. So
Wow.
it's not a monster, but it's good enough. It's it's
Yeah.
a good size to it raised all of us, and my dad was one of 7
manageable.
kids. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we lived the farm life growing up. Even us, it didn't matter if we were boys or girls, we were all out there doing what we needed to do and stuff. And that's kind of where my Twisted Twine, the name, came from, because my dad fixed everything with baler twine,
Yep.
whether it was to hold an animal or to hold his pants up, or to fix a fence or whatever. So that's kind of where we kind of came up with
tape.
It was his everything. Everything was the baler twine. So that's my connection, because the family is extremely important in that area. We try to get back there as often as we can to see family and spend time up there. That's what charges my batteries.
That's great. How far away is it from you?
About 3.5 hours now.
That's not too bad,
So
though.
yeah, it's manageable. We can head up after work on a Friday night and then still have a good weekend, and then come back on a Sunday afternoon and have a good time. My girls, one's in Kansas City and one's in St. Louis. So we're kind of on the three far ends of Missouri as far as larger cities anyway. So central Missouri is kind of our middle point. So I'm much more likely to see my girls at the farm at my parents, rather than them coming down here. They do that a couple times during the year, but not real often. We just more likely to gather up there together.
That's cool. That's nice having a hub.
Yeah, that definitely is what it is.
It's funny because I'm not used to people that aren't in like New England talking about how you can cross over states and stuff because you're so close to state lines.
Yeah, it's just, it literally is right there, because my husband, he has a business in Northwest Arkansas. He's in construction. So that's why, like right now, I used to have a 10-minute commute to work, and now I've got an hour-long commute each way, because we needed a place kind of halfway in the middle between his work and mine. And it works out. I have a lot of time for podcasts. I have a lot of time.
I remember that time.
For being on the phone a lot with family, and So yeah.
I used to like that, like on my hour, because I had an hour ride commute I
Oh,
drove it
okay.
for 14 years.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, for a while. So I've listened to a lot of music and a lot of
Yeah.
podcasts, but I used to love making phone calls on the way home because it just got shit done. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, did that. I did that. I did that.
Yeah.
Sweet. I can just like go home and just be there,
Yeah.
like not worry anymore about the things I had to get done.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of, whew, there's my border, across the border, into the yard, into the driveway. Boom, I'm home now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's fun. The first time that I got to meet you was at Maker's Camp on your
Uh-huh.
honeymoon.
Yes.
Like, that was pretty cool. And what a
Yeah.
fun honeymoon. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how original.
We went out to like Rhode Island and then on up to Maine before we went to Maker's Camp. So we kind of did the circle. And it just worked out nice. We, neither Marvin nor I had been up in that area before for vacation. So it was kind of nice. I'd been to New York for Maker's Camp before, but I hadn't been, around to be a tourist up there. Yep. So we ate a lot of lobster, because, we don't have fresh seafood here.
I was going to say, you're in New England, you're going to eat.
Yeah, we were eating fresh seafood every opportunity we had. When we're here at home, we eat beef. When we're not, when we have an opportunity to eat seafood, yeah, that's definitely where we're going.
That's so funny. I've talked to Mary Lou. I don't know if you know her.
Oh yeah,
yeah. About like if you're not near like the sea, you don't want to eat seafood. She's had this conversation with me before. Like, yeah, you don't know where that seafood's been or where it come from,
how long it took to get there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally with you there.
I just think it's disgusting, so I avoid it at all costs. I can't do it. Can't.
Are you more of a chicken eater or beef?
Yeah, it's mostly chicken, but that's for like just trying to lose weight purposes too.
I understand that too. Yeah,
that life.
Yeah.
But I was curious, what made you start your Instagram account?
So I kind of fell into making whenever I was at the farm a few years ago, and some barn boards were kind of coming off of one of the barns. And I'm like, I think I could make something out of this. I hadn't really I'd done crafty stuff before, but I hadn't like made anything with it. And especially with the family connection, like I'd mentioned, my dad was raised on that farm, but I mean, like he remembers as a kid, they would cut down the logs, take him to get them milled up, and then they would build things with them. And now it's those same boards, those same buildings and stuff. So I made a side table or kind of a hall table out of it. And then, I mean, I literally went to Harbor Freight and bought a table saw and a drill because I had nothing. I mean, I had nothing to make this. And my youngest at the time, she was probably a freshman in high school, and she had a middle school shop class. And so she was my first teacher.
That's awesome. She's like, okay,
yeah, don't cut your arm off here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool though, because she probably had like a nice fresh view on all the rules.
Yeah, so that worked out really well. And then a friend of mine just randomly on Facebook had posted something about the Making It podcast. And I'm like, because I was really starting to get into podcasts at the time. And then you're addicted to it. You find out about Jimmy and the Making a Podcast, and then you find out about YouTube. And because otherwise I had gone to Pinterest to find pictures of what I might want to do for that table, for that hall table. I didn't even know to go to YouTube to find out how to really learn how to do it properly.
To actually build it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really, it was a snowball process. And that was about the time that I'd gotten divorced also. So it really was, my girls were older. I had become single. So now I had a whole lot more time also. And I'm like, and that's the thing too. I know, I think it was your previous guest, you guys were talking about, when you get to that point where you're not just so-and-so's mom or so-and-so's spouse,
Yeah.
you kind of get to find yourself a little
Terry
bit,
from Seven Trees.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so I totally relate to what she was saying there. And so I was just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. And I fell into the maker community while I was doing it. So it was really just a great opportunity. And then I went to Jimmy's in May of 2019 in one of his Obey the Grain power carving classes.
Cool.
And that literally, I mean, that's, it's kind of one of those decisions you look back in life and you're like, it really changed how I did things and what I did and where my priorities were and
Shaped
what
your
I wanted
life.
to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, it literally did. And I wanted to go back for one of the metalworking classes, but then they were talking about Makers Camp. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll I don't want to have to, I would have gone back every weekend had I had an opportunity to, but I was like, okay, I'll wait and then I'll go to Makers Camp. And, then you're just hooked, it's just,
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because, my sisters and my mom, when I first went to Jimmy's, they were like, now who is this and who are these people? Because I hadn't met any of them. I hadn't even talked to any of them on the phone,
Yeah,
and
so it's all brand new for you.
Everybody and my family was like, wait a minute, you're doing what? You're going where? They were a little, so that was kind of
You're going
joke.
Where by yourself?
Exactly.
What?
Yeah. It's like, and so that was kind of our joke. When we were sitting around the table that first night at Jimmy's, I said, well, I'm having to reassure my family that I have not joined a cult. I have not, run off to, join the circus or whatever. It was just, kind of funny, but yeah, it really was just it was just such a wonderful opportunity. And now I just can't get enough of it,
It is an amazing place. Like, I love going. I'm hooked. I'm never not gonna go,
Right.
Like, it's just really fun time. And when else are you gonna do that besides Workbench Con? Like,
right.
It's like amazing just to do that and to dive in with all those people that you admire who are doing something similar to you,
Yeah. And a chance to get away and leave work and home at work and home, and just get away.
Well,
and
not for me, but
well, that's true.
but still, it's fun work. Like,
Yeah,
I'm excited to go do this work. Like, teach it like 10 people at a time to power carve. Yeah, let's do it. Like, let's go.
Yeah. It's such a wonderful opportunity. And it's a shame, with COVID and all that kind of stuff there for a couple of years slowed everything down. But I'm just glad that, it's back up and running and we're having opportunities to get together again. It's just such a blessing, it's just such a great opportunity.
By the way, I don't know if I told you, I was listening to your guys' podcast and I heard you talk about me and I was like, oh, thank you. Because I really like that you called out, because if people didn't know, like the first time I went, I contacted Sabretooth and I was like, hey, I'm just going to teach a class on power carving on picnic tables and whoever comes and we'll have fun. And I carved up, pride flags and bonfire pieces. And then I brought paint and then I taught everybody how to paint. Like, and it was just like,
it was great.
I just wanted free tools. And I figured it'd be a great way because I paid for, my husband actually bought my ticket. He's like, you're going to go. He like pushed me, just go, like, do it. You're going to have fun, So like, okay, so I got my ticket, but now I want some free tools. And how can I do that? But then it was so fun because then we all got to hang out. Like, I got to meet you and then we power carved together. Like, how fun.
Yeah, it's funny because my husband remembers you as the lady at the picnic table. That's what you were. I'm like, I'm talking to Tiff tonight. He goes, yeah, the lady from the picnic table.
Picnic table lady.
That's who it is.
It's great. I mean, it's where we met.
And that, I mean, that's the whole point of, or, one of the principles, I guess, of Makers Camp is bring what you know and share and help educate. And you went from a picnic table to, one of the tents,
tent, man.
That's how it's supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to. And folks were loving that, getting a chance to get in there.
They were fiending. We had people coming back so many times that we were like, okay, I'm sorry, but we have to let someone new try. And they're like, I understand. Like, it was really funny. Because we had spoons and people wanted to finish their spoon. Like they were
Right.
determined. They weren't going to go home and finish it. They wanted to finish it now.
Yeah. Oh, I totally get it. Yeah.
So most of the stuff that you build, are you building it for yourself, or do you sell it or give it to family and friends? Like,
Most things are given to family or friends. I do keep some things for myself, but for the most part, I give them away. I've never sold anything, and I'm okay with that.
it's so much nicer when you're not trying to sell stuff.
Yeah.
Having to sell your stuff is the worst part. I'll make all day, but it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've kind of got an ongoing list of requests from people, or holidays, or birthday requests or
I
weddings.
love when
or stuff
somebody
like
wants me to make him a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially because most of the material that I use is material from the farm. So I feel like I'm kind of giving a bit of my history to, or if it's to family, I'm giving their history to them.
Yep.
With something that I make for them. So I really,
that's a nice feeling.
I'm really happy to do that. Yeah. To kind of, I think Austin referred to me as a sentimental woodworker. So that's kind of my, I guess that's my new tagline. I'm a sentimental woodworker.
Twisted Twine Woodworking.
Yes.
On the sentimental side. We gotta figure a name. We gotta figure that one out. That was bad. That was terrible. I'm sorry. Let's move on. So anyways, you're a CPA.
Yes.
We wanted to talk about that a little bit. I know yesterday you gave a tip, and like that's been your thing. How long have you been doing your tax tips?
Yeah, tax tips Tuesdays started right after Maker Camp. Because I've been in public accounting from 94 till 07. And then I had a client that I started working for exclusively for the client for the past 15 years now, but I still do all types of accounting, and I'm kind of more of a liaison rather than the actual tax preparer now. But I love accounting, and I realize nobody else outside of the accounting world ever says that. But I'm a numbers person. I mean, I love to analyze numbers. And so just different times when I've visited with different folks in the maker community, and especially at Makers Camp too, had opportunities, when you're sitting around eating breakfast together or lunch or supper or whatever, and you're talking about what you do outside of the maker community or whatever. And as soon as I mention that I'm a CPA or I'm an accounting or whatever, they're like, oh, so
you like doing that?
Yeah, exactly. But most people, especially folks that are doing this as either a side hustle or as a full-time job, they realize the importance that they do have to actually keep track of stuff. So it was actually the Tuesday after Maker Camp, and I'm literally driving to work that morning, and you know how it is when you come back from Maker Camp or Workbench Con or whatever.
Your mind,
your brain
stop.
is
It's just, you've had so many conversations. You found so many gaps that you could fill. Yeah. Oh yes, I know.
Yeah. So I was literally driving, and I recorded my little first Tax Tip Tuesday, and it was about taking these trips, Makers Camp, Workbench Con, whatever, they're conferences, they're either education or their promotion, or they're depending on what you're doing at these type of things, that's a business expense if you're running a business. So I think folks need to just kind of maybe be reminded of stuff like that. And so I recorded the first one while I was driving, and of course one of my maker friends, he messaged me, he's like, you should not be recording while you're driving.
Of course. Like, yeah.
Yes, Dave, thank you very much. I know. So I've not been driving since then while I've been recording my little Tax Tip Tuesdays. But yeah, I just kind of, think of stuff that I think might apply to folks in the maker community or any kind of small business person that I think will help them. Because I realize that most folks that run small businesses, they didn't get into it because they love bookkeeping. They didn't get into it because they got into
business.
It.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got into because they like that, making that product. They like making. It's not, they don't, business is just part that you have to survive. Like,
right. Exactly. So that's kind of where, it started. And, so that, and I've appreciated folks that have messaged me and encouraged me, because I'm like, like I said, I'm an over analyzer. And so I'll look at my little stories and, so many people just exited right out as soon as and I'm like, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Not everybody wants to hear about it. And so that's why I added the little highlights so that if folks want to go back and listen or kind of just scan through them or whatever. And, like I said, if it's not their thing or if they're not in this to be a business, then that's okay.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But if I can help some folks with it, I'm all for that,
I'm all ears, honestly. As I told you, like, this is my first time. Like, I quit my day job in June.
Mhm.
So, like, now I have money coming in everywhere and it's
Right.
different. And I'm like, oh God,
Yeah.
I have to track all of this and pay taxes on all of it. And I've never done that before. So it's
Yeah.
just like, like going through,
Right.
I'm currently just going through everything I've spent because my money wasn't separated. Like, I wasn't at that
Yeah.
point yet. So
Mhm.
obviously next year, money's all going to be on separate accounts. I have a business
Yes.
account that I pull from, all of that. But this year,
Yes.
I'm literally in QuickBooks right now, just like spending a few hours in there a week, just
Yep.
like this
Now-
right now.
Yeah. Are you doing the online QuickBooks?
Yes.
Okay. So is
Yeah.
it, you got it hooked up with your bank account, so it's pulling the transactions
Yep.
in automatically? Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's a big time saver right there, as
Mhm.
opposed to just keying it, straight.
Oh no, God, no.
Yeah.
Everything's getting linked. And of course, I don't just
Good.
have one bank account. I have multiple bank accounts. So yes, it's been a
Yeah.
feat, but I'm just like, you need to just hone it in, get it all organized now so that next year I can just not even think about it. Like, I just want to have
Right.
it all ready. And so that's currently what I've been doing financially, of just trying to like get focused in while, continuing to try to actually do this crazy career that I chose. So
Right.
it's a bit of a
Right.
struggle, but it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah. And that's the key. I mean, keeping up with it
mhm.
is very important, because if you, and I think it was last week or week before, whenever, if you wait till next year to be tallying up this year's information, you're behind already. And it's hard to kind of get a gauge as far as what you're going to owe, or whether you need to do certain things before the end of the year, to kind of help you out a little bit. So, getting ahead and staying on it is really the key, as far
You were
as all
talking
of
about,
it.
like whether to make a big expense on a new
Right.
tool or something. Like,
Right. Yeah. Because
yeah,
I know some folks they're like, oh, well, it's
that's a
the end of the
write-off.
year, I need to be buying that. And that's fine and well if you need it. But, and I think the line I used was, don't waste $1 trying to save a dime. Because, if it's not something that you need,
Right.
then you're just wasting money,
Mhm.
or if it's not something that you're going to be able to use in the real near future, it's not, it's not really doing you a whole lot of good, especially if maybe you end up having a year where you're not, you don't have any taxable income in your business,
Mhm.
So there's a whole lot of
Right,
things to
depending
kind
on
of take.
what level you're running your business
Right.
at. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, looking at how you're going throughout the year I think is as important as looking at where you're selling or how you're doing the other aspects of your business, because, nothing stops a business like financial problems.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true though.
I know that's no fun to hear, but so I think it's important. And I think, I want to help folks as much as I can. I mean, my day job has me more busy than I want it to be. And with the commute and everything. So I'm not looking to, to be the maker's accountant as much as maybe that would be a kind of a fun thing to do. But I do want to help folks. I want to, if they've got questions or whatever, I'm more than happy to kind of give my 2 cents for, if it's something that I can help
you give
with
us
anyway.
like 5 tips as like a new business, what you should do just to get yourself ready for your business?
Yeah. So you hit on the first one as far as having a separate bank account. Track it and pay attention to what you're doing as far as income and expenses. And then also, depending on where you're at geographically, what state you're in, what city you're in, you do need to check with your county or your city and find out whether you do need a business license, because that kind of stuff. And honestly, just look on the website or call City Hall. They
Right.
will be more than happy to help you get right off the bat. So those kind of things are very important too. And then as far as like day-to-day tracking of stuff, mileage, keep track of your miles and where you're going, because that is a big chunk of change if you're delivering stuff, or if you're, anytime you're going to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, that mileage really adds up.
Yeah.
So keeping track of that is really important.
And there's a few
too.
apps that do that too. I've seen.
Yes.
That'll help you track it.
Yes, definitely. And then paying attention to the expense of your shop, like the structure. And normally it's kind of referred to as the home office deduction, which of course in this case it's the workshop deduction. But if you're working from home and you have a place that you are regularly doing business there exclusively,
right, like where I am currently,
right, exactly. Right. So figure out your square footage compared to the rest of your house, and take those expenses.
I've got
as well.
two big rooms of this house.
There you go. So yeah, those are big chunks of change now. And really, like, as you're keeping track of your QuickBooks, all your income and expenses going out, the cost of your shop is kind of a different calculation. So those are those side calculations are the things you're going to have to really pay attention to too. Like I said, your shop or mileage, keeping track of that stuff is really important, because that's outside of just your checking account kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to think, what are a couple other things?
I said, you can give us more than 5.
Yeah. Sales tax. That's the other thing, as far as, and there too, it has to do with your state or your local situation. It's very important to get on the front end of that right out the gate. Make sure if you are selling where you need to be charging sales tax, then don't get behind on that. Get registered for that and take care of that. Shoot, I had one just jump through my mind.
I was gonna say, I know Shopify too will track your sales tax for you and stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm all about what can help me, what can automate it for me.
Oh yeah. And that was the other thing too. As far as actually preparing your income tax return, there's nothing that says makers have to make everything. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's important to get a specialist, someone who, does this for a living, to help out in certain areas. Yep. So like, as far as filing a tax return, they do that on a daily basis. So, and I know they're going to cost money, but a lot of times you will save enough in taxes to cover what the fee is going to be to have that tax return prepared. So,
and you'll feel confident in it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm going to have somebody do mine too. Like, I'm just like, I'll get it all prepared and clean so I don't have 1,000 questions, because I don't want that.
Yeah. Well, and then like next year, if you have somebody help prepare for this year's tax return, then next year, just look at it, look it through and be like, okay, do I feel confident enough or comfortable enough to be able to do this? And unfortunately, the rules always change, as far as just, and even the little silly thing with the meals expense now. If you go out to eat, if you go to a restaurant, either picking up or eating there, and you're there for business purposes, meeting someone in your business, you're meeting a client or you're meeting a potential client or something, and you're talking about business, and you document that on your receipt. If you're at a restaurant, that's 100% deductible. It used to be a 50% deduction, but now it's 100%. That's just for 2021 and 2022. It was a post-COVID kind of thing. So
that's why I have to categorize it in QuickBooks, because they keep I'm like, oh, okay, that was a business one. Okay, because I was like, I put all my workbench cons ones as business meals. Obviously, I learned from listening.
Yeah, but like if you're picking up something at a grocery store and you're going to meet somebody and talk about it, that's just 50% deductible. I know it's silly.
Interesting.
But it's the restaurant versus a not restaurant. Like I said, it's a COVID thing. They were trying to help the restaurant industry after.
That's great though. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's just little things like that, do kind of add up. But like I said, having a professional prepare your tax return is definitely something to think about, when someone's going, and then having someone local too, because the other thing is, like I said, too, states and cities, they got their own rules and all those extra benefits and disadvantages. So having someone that knows your local situation, that is a big help also. Yeah.
That's a good thing to point out.
Yeah. Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, the most important thing is to just keep track of everything, and like, okay, let's say cell phone bill. Your cell phone is definitely a large part of what you do for your business. And some would say
it's my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And some would say 100% all business, which, I guess maybe the argument can be made. But keep in mind, as you're preparing your bookkeeping to have a tax return prepared, every number that you have on that information, if you get audited, you're going to have to set across from an auditor and feel confident in your information. So keep that in mind. Unfortunately, in public accounting and everything, I've gone through a number of audits with clients, and you just have to be comfortable in what you're putting out there. And we always had a saying, let me make sure I get it right. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. So
got you.
The tax code is gray. Unfortunately, it's not cut and dry. There's a lot of interpretation in a lot of things. But if you're just eating a little bit, you'll get okay. But if you're, going hog wild, deducting things that are neither ordinary or necessary, brace yourself, because that could definitely come back.
It's funny that you're saying that. So I went to at Haven this year. I went to the taxes for influencer class, and I came in there and people were trying to write off the most insane things. And she's like, did you do it to your house because you needed it? Right. Or because you needed it for content? And they're like, well, it's for content. And she's like, you can't write it off. Like, it's like if you're just doing things for content, you can't just use that as a write-off too. Like, it's things that people, like I said, get greedy. They want to get all of the money back they can, which I mean, we all do.
Hey, I don't want to pay. Yeah. In an ideal world, we wouldn't be dealing with this at all, but that's not where we live.
Nope.
Yeah. So, it's making decisions that you're going to be able to sleep at night. And I don't want to scare anybody. I don't mean to be, a negative Nancy when it comes to all this kind of stuff.
No, you're just trying to prepare people.
Right. Get ahead of the game, be consistent, and, just be straightforward and honest about it. And then you'll be fine,
Yeah.
And also prepare for your taxes. I mean, if a person knows if they're making money or not, especially if they're having a separate bank account, they can see their bank account, whether there's more money in there all the time. Well, plan ahead a little bit. Have you a separate bank account, slip a certain percentage, every month of your excess, slip it over into that side bank account. And then, if you need to pay quarterlies in for your income taxes, then do it. You don't want to wait till the end of, April 15th. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have the cash to pay for it.
Unless you were preparing all year, like keeping that money aside.
Right. Set that money aside.
I said there's always 2-3 ways to do something, but be cognizant, like you need to save. That's what I've been doing. I have money being automatically transferred into a different bank account that it just disappears. Like I never had it. Like it just keeps going away.
Well, and when a person has a W-2, like an employee, like I do, my taxes are withheld on my paycheck every 2 weeks when I get paid. So I never see it. And so having it like that,
I don't have that anymore. So.
Yeah. But having it automatically drafted out and slipped into another bank account, maybe even a bank account that you don't have access to online, that
I
might
don't use
be,
it besides to pay my
yeah,
mortgage. That's the only thing that
yeah,
comes out of it. Yeah.
yeah. So, just kind of plan
I
ahead a
know
little bit.
myself. I take the chunks. Well, I talked to another maker, Ryan Hulse from Hulse Designs,
Uh-huh.
before I quit my job because he went to school for business and he's got a really great grasp on all of this stuff. And I'm a very inquisitive person and I want to find out as much as I can about everything as I make my choices through life. I'm one of those little nerds who prepare every step of the way, you know? But yeah, he gave me some great advice and that was one of his tips. And then it was like awesome because I already kind of was doing it because
Mm-hmm.
I had things like I refinanced my house before I quit my job.
Mm-hmm.
I merged our money into a home equity like all the debt into one pile. So we're just paying that one bill. Like I
Right.
try to minimize any other expenses because like you're never ready to just quit your job. Like
Right. Right.
I was like,
That's a
I gotta
huge
take,
step.
yeah, I gotta take as many like precautionary things that I can so that I know that we have a good balance of where our money's coming out of, like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And even like, you do QuickBooks, and that's what I have most experience with as far as keeping track of business stuff.
Mhm.
As far as like what regular folks would use for bookkeeping. And, the thing to remember is a lot of us learned woodworking, metalworking, power carving, whatever, by watching YouTube and getting advice from others.
Yep.
Learning how to use QuickBooks or learning these tips and stuff like that. You can also learn that watching YouTube, watching
That's not as fun.
I know, trust me.
I have a little
But
face like, but
but
no, it's good information though.
yeah, once
Yeah.
you get over that hurdle and you're comfortable with it, just think about how much smoother it's going to go down the line.
We all want to learn, but then you have to put that video on. It's like QuickBook tips.
Yeah.
Hi. Today we're going to learn about QuickBooks.
Yes.
Chapter 1.
Oh, trust me, I know. I totally get it. That is not exciting for
It's like those
99.9% of
classes that you have to
America.
do when you work in a corporation, all those
Yeah.
yearly things about like sexual harassment and stuff.
Yes.
And then you got to watch the videos. Hey, Jane, how you doing? Did you catch? It's like, oh gosh,
Oh yeah.
I'm in it.
Oh
Let's
man.
go. Yeah.
We would do them in person. I mean, we would have to
Oh,
go to the
geez.
class. Yeah, we had the head legal counsel and the head
They
HR
acted it
guy.
out.
Yeah, they did, PowerPoint presentation.
Ooh.
But then sometimes we would get to hear some of the juicy stories, that they kind of would tell us
People
on
like
the
shared
side.
like personal experiences.
Yeah,
That's cool.
they can't share the names, of course, of what,
Mhm.
but they're like, yeah, those people no longer work here. That kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, they're foolish.
Okay, I want to know about these ornaments that you're making right now because they're
Yeah.
so freaking cool. Like,
Oh, thank
I
you.
had no idea what you were doing because I watch people cut wood into strips a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a lot of wood strips, and this is the first time where I was like shocked and surprised of what the outcome was because I didn't see your post of what you were making before I
Oh,
saw the actual you making it. So it was like a
yeah.
pleasant surprise. I got to watch it build.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are cool. What's the story behind them?
Yeah, so we had for the Making Your Way podcast, we did the ornament swap, and so I was trying to find, I'm always wanting to incorporate barnwood, and
Mhm.
so last year when Dean did the little ornament, where he had donated a good god awful amount of money to the Boys and Girls Club for anybody that sent him an ornament. So last year I made a little stocking, a wooden stocking, because my grandma, she would always crochet little stockings for on the Christmas tree. She would tape them to your present each year, and then you could use them as ornaments. So I wanted to kind of do a play on what grandma had done. And so I used barnwood, and I'm a hoarder when it comes to all of my cutoffs.
Yeah.
And so I used, cut off strips, and then I made an ornament, I made a little stocking. And then this year I'm like, okay, I need to kind of like step up my game from the ornament last year. So yeah, I cut my little strips kind of consistently, and then I used my belt sander to kind of take the edges off so that it looked like a log cabin.
Mm-hmm.
So each of my little pieces glued it up, looked like a little log cabin. And then I'm like, okay, what else can I, add on there? So I went with the leather, and then I painted some leather, which I had never painted leather before. I love to work with leather.
I've never either. Yeah.
And so I'm
it was
like,
cool. It came out really good though.
Yeah. And then my mom, when years ago, she used to make Christmas tree skirts out of felt, and then she would have like a pattern of sequins and beads and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, so on my little cabin, my little log cabin, I had the little snowman and the snow cap, that's the leather, painted leather, and then I got some beads, and then I kind of beaded out a Christmas tree to put on front of it, on the front of the little ornament too. So, so over this past weekend, I made about 6, 7. I originally sent one to it was actually Austin's uncle, Joe, that had got my ornament. So I sent it off to him. But then I was like, the Fools with Tools treasure trade too. I'm like, okay, I need one for that too.
Fools with Tools? I don't know this.
Oh, the podcast, the Fools with Tools podcast.
There's so many freaking woodworking podcasts. I try to tune into everybody's once in a while because there's just so many.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, and they have a Facebook.
I like their name though.
Yes. Yeah. They've been around for a long time. And so there's a Facebook group, and inside the Facebook group, they do a treasure trade, and which this year it was going to be kind of a like at Maker's Camp where we did the Maker Swap, So it's, you exchange names, or, and then you make an ornament, or you make a gift, and then you send it to them. But this year they wanted to, because it's such a busy time of year, they wanted to do a smaller thing. It's kind of more of a trinket trade. So I made an ornament to send to Ben, and I can't pronounce his last name. I'm not familiar. I wasn't familiar with him until I got his name on in the exchange.
Where's he from?
He's from Topeka, Kansas.
Does he have an Instagram account or no?
Yes, but I don't remember. It's his name, and
Ben.
It's Ben. Yes. So earlier this week, I sent him one of the ornaments that I made, and then one of the other ladies that was in the ornament exchange, she and I are gonna exchange ornaments on the side.
Nice. You guys like each other's style?
Yes.
That's
she
cool.
made the macrame angel, which that's I thought super cool. I mean, they were all great ornaments.
People do some cool stuff with macrame.
Yeah, I've done a lot of needlepoint and crocheting and that kind of thing, but I've never done any that witchcraft macrame kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't mess with the stuff.
Yeah.
I just enjoy watching what others do and stuff.
Yes.
I'll sit back and you guys do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I've got a few extra. My girls are wanting one of each of the ornaments. So, it's kind of, and then I've got
how many are you up to making?
Yeah. So I've made 7 so far.
Okay.
And I've shipped 3 of them. Nice. And so then 2 of them, one will go to each of my daughters, and then I'll probably keep one. And then my family does a gift exchange, like a white, it's not a white elephant, like a, it's like it's a decent gift. The intention should be a decent gift. So, but anyway, I'm thinking about including one of those ornaments with that.
That'd be fun.
So yeah, I think I will probably have them all divvied out before the end of the year. But and when prior to this, like fall, I never would have been like, oh, let me make a batch of them.
Yeah.
Because normally I'd be like, I'm going to make 1 or 2 for a specific, person or for a specific thing. But, like this fall, Austin, who does the podcast with me, he did like a little maker's camp at his house. And so we all made one of something for everybody. So I made 20 boxes. Wow. Yeah, for first aid kits, because we've had a year of first aid needs with building the shop. So it was my first experience of batching out 20 boxes, which was it was a great experience. But so then when I was making these ornaments, I'm like, I think let me go ahead and make, half a dozen of them and see. It should save me time. Then I've got them if I need them to give away or whatever. So
That's
yeah,
cool. I love that though.
Fun little ornaments to make for sure.
I just whipped up some the other day on a laser just to see. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
play around. See, it worked awesome. I'm like, oh, now I need more. I want to make more ornaments. Like I still have to finish them. I just sanded them today though. I was like, how do I sand these now? Because I'm like, I better use the surf prep because it'll be a little bit more gentle than anything else.
Yeah.
Of course, I made like that intricate one with the flowers, so it's like everything's like paper thin. I'm like, I don't want to just sit there and like destroy it once I get it. So I was very grateful. So shout out to Surf Prep because that was very good that I had that thing.
Yeah.
I was like, foam, that'll be good.
Yeah, I've not used a laser or anything like that.
I'm so new to it.
Oh, yeah, but
I'm learning.
It looks like it's got so many possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, will be using it a lot very soon. So I have to got to get my butt in gear and learn it. I want to use my rotary. I haven't put it in yet. I'm like, I'm such a little baby. I'm like, just plug it in. Just do it, Tiffany. You've got cups. Just do it one day. So yes.
Yep.
After this craft fair, that is my first goal. Well, I won't say craft fair, it's a market. But after this, then it's time.
Yeah. But I understand those. There is an apprehension for new things like that. But then it's like once you get past that initial hurdle or whatever, then you're like, shoot, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Or why was I so apprehensive?
Why was I so afraid?
But I totally get it. I'm with you there.
It's just like once, you know what it is? It's like you open up the program and then you can't figure something out. So then you say, fuck it. No, no, fuck it. No. Then you gotta get yourself, okay, no, go try that program again.
Right.
You can do it. You can do it. Because like I couldn't get it to connect for a while. And then somebody told me like, oh, you have a Mac? Well, you've got to unplug it, restart it, then plug it back into your Mac, and then it'll read it. And I'm like, geez. Oh, it was only for the first time, thankfully.
Okay.
But I was just like, oh my God, like seriously, that's what was holding me up because it held me up for like 3 weeks. I'm like, I can't get it to connect. I can't get it to connect.
Yeah.
And like, I was working a full-time job plus Workbench Con and Sabretooth. So I wasn't going to call Boss Laser and complain because I didn't have time to be on the phone. Yeah. And I was just so grateful when that maker said that to me. And I was just like, thank you. Thank you, woodworking community.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's invaluable. Just all the little tidbits and everything. I mean, there's so many things that I never would have done. I never would have even contemplated doing that I've,
you do so much. You try
I'm game
everything.
for it all.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed with myself that I've not done anything really in the metalworking world yet. I mean, I've done when we've been at
like
events,
welding, stuff like that.
I would love to weld.
Yeah.
I totally want to do that. And we've got a very small welder. But I just need to make a point to just do it, get some metal and
metal art would be cool. Like you watch like Ray Ripple, what she does and stuff. And I'm just like, I want to play with that.
Yeah. I mean, my goal is to do everything for a project, if it's a box, I want to do the hinges and the latch and the, whatever. If it has any metal in it, if it's welding or if it's, forging or if it's leather or whatever, I want to do all the parts. That's what I want.
I like that.
Yeah. I'd love to make a couple knives.
Most of it down already.
Well, we'll see. It's one thing to kind of do something at a maker event where you're being like literally walked through the entire process together. But
where you take that knowledge, you bring it home, and then you do your research again.
Yeah.
You refresh yourself. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
I enjoy. At least you enjoyed it or not. Like
right.
That's key. Like my husband and I went to the Hammer Inn because he always was interested. You watch Forge of Fire, you're like, oh, that looks like fun. So he was really into it. I'm like, well, let's just go. I'm like, I want to meet Dre and Lucas anyways. We talk on Clubhouse. I want to go meet him. Let's go. And then we went and he didn't like it.
Oh.
But we had a fun time. I loved it.
Yeah.
I met everybody. That's where I got to meet. Like, I was
Mhm.
laughing because I was like, oh, I'm just sitting here painting while Jimmy DeRessa's eating a bagel, hanging out with me. I'm like, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
cool. Like, that's
Yeah.
cool. You know,
Yeah.
like, this is a fun experience. So then, like,
Uh-huh.
that's why my husband bought me the maker camp ticket, because he's like, you're going. You
Ah,
really had
yes.
fun. You're going. He goes, but I'm not going.
Well, and that's okay.
Oh,
You know,
it
I
was
mean,
great.
that's the thing.
I like
That's
being a free
okay.
bird.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
not all of this stuff is for everybody, you know.
Mm-mm. No,
And
he's
Marvin,
not in the garage
yeah,
type of guy. No.
yeah. And Marvin went last year and had a great time. But, you know, like this year, he had so many other things going on. And then he went with me when we went to Virginia to Austin's place.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, you know, I just can't do both because they were both
Mhm.
in October. And I'm like, I totally get that, you know. So, you know, not everybody has to do everything all the time. So
Exactly. Yeah. And it's nice. It's nice to take a break and
yeah,
feel like myself. Like, he went to Comic
right.
Con a few weeks later. So, like, that was his time.
Oh
Like, he
yeah,
had a guy's trip. I'm like, go, get out of here now. Like,
yeah,
you know, I'm like, it's your turn.
yeah.
Pass that torch.
And that's great. I mean, that's really, you know, important for a marriage too, in a relationship is,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
need my alone
understand,
time.
right.
Hmm?
Understand what the other one wants and be okay with that,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
No, it's huge.
Yeah.
And be okay with voicing what you want. That's, I think, the most important
Yes.
part, because we're all too like, I don't want to ask for it. But
Right.
yeah.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on and hanging out.
Oh, you're very
It
welcome.
was fun. We didn't even talk about your podcast, but
Oh,
if
yeah.
if you want to plug it real quick before we get off, I'd love to have you do that.
Yeah, it's the Making Our Way podcast. I'm on with Dean DePlantis and Austin from High Caliber Craftsman. And we are a Tuesday download. And so, yeah, it's we talk about more specifically to the projects rather than to the maker. So it's a little different. But you know, I mean, these podcasts are just, it's a great opportunity to get to sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think this kind of stuff we probably just need to do more often, regardless of whether we're recording it or not. Maybe it'd be more fun if we weren't recording.
I mean, you can stay on for a minute if you want, and I can hit the button. I'm okay with that if you're okay with that. But we will end it here with our recording.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed getting to know Christy and learning a bit about taxes. I know people might get scared on that topic, so if you've made it past that section, I applaud you, because it is important stuff to know, and it may not be the most fun topic, so we appreciate you checking that out. I appreciate Christy coming on and sharing about that stuff, because I find it extremely important and valuable. So thank you again, Christy. Go check her out at Twisted Twine Woodworking. And I think we only have one more episode left for this season. I'm going to take a little break again and then come back in the new year. So we hope you guys have a great day, and thank you for listening.